Hi, everybody. It's episode 610 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. I am Chris. With me is Droo.
Hello.
And Walnut.
I'm here.
It's another day.
Yeah. At least
Jenny
it
is barking
wasn't
at nothing.
freezing. At least it wasn't freezing like it was the past 2 days.
True.
It was cold this morning, but then, it actually got relatively nice.
It broke 60, which is nice. Like, the past few days, it hasn't broke 60, and we had a freeze warning the night before, and we had 90-degree weather a week prior to that, and so it's just, I hate it so much. I just want to have my windows open. I just
Climate
want my
change.
windows open. But yeah, it was nice today. It was nice. And tomorrow's going to be nicer, and then... yeah, I should
gonna
be
be cold
nice
again.
from here on. It should be. See, the 56-degree temperature isn't the problem. It was the frost warnings and the cold snaps that we had at night. The negative or the under 35-degree weather. That's what was the problem, because it then made the house cold at night, and then it made it longer to warm up during the day. The 50-degree weather, if it's like 40 to 50 degrees, it's not bad. That's actually, my house will keep the heat well enough. And I turned my heater off mid-March. I'm not turning it back on. Like, I'm done. I'm done with the heater. And I refuse to turn the air conditioner on until June at best. Like, my goal is always to make it until June. I almost never do, but my goal is to make it till at least June before I turn my air conditioner on.
We were close a couple of days when it was like 90 to turning it on. But it was like, looking at the weather, it was like, well, it's 90 today, but then it's 30 tomorrow. So is it even worth turning it on?
Yeah, I was at that same point. I was like, I want to turn it on because these 2 days are so uncomfortable. It's like, it's only 2 days and it's not really that bad. It's like, and especially at night, it's not that bad. It gets better at night. It's just only for a couple of hours, and like I managed, and it was fine. Yeah, it's been a wild card.
Yeah, but it's almost summer. It'll be miserably hot in no time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But enough of that. What's on the agenda?
On the agenda, we all should have seen Seven Samurai, but before that, Droo got to see The Wonder Years a bunch of times live in concert. And then Cobb read a bunch of comics for Daredevil. And then I played not a new board game, but a new board game to me called Innovation, which was very interesting.
Nice. Sorry, Ben is being very restless. He won't just lay down.
He's allowed to be restless. He's a sweetheart.
He's a good boy. He's just being a Benny.
Yeah.
But he has this habit of, he comes upstairs and then walks into every other room and just starts barking instead of coming into this room.
Because he can't find you.
But he walks past me.
He misses you and he can't find you.
He's just a goop. But yeah, Droo, how are the 7 Wonder Year shows you went to?
I unfortunately only went to 4 out of the 6. There were definitely people that went to all 6. But they were awesome. They had different openers every night. Let me pull that back up. So I went to, they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I went to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Friday the 10th was Pool Kids and Head North, which I had heard and seen Pool Kids before. I saw them open for Beach Bunny. They're really good. I'd never heard of Head North, and they were really good. I think they said they were from Buffalo. The emo band. Really cool. The 11th was Oso Oso and Future Teens opening. I've seen Oso Oso a number of times. They're really good. Future Teens, I had heard the name, never heard of. They were also really good. Sunday the 12th, the openers were Bike Roots, who are a great South Jersey band.
I didn't know they were from South Jersey.
Yeah. At some point during the Wonder Years set on that night, they brought Dave, the singer of Bike Roots, out, and Dan, the singer from the Wonder Years, even was talking up the band. He's like, and this guy's even my local barista. And then Spanish Love Songs was the other opener that day. I absolutely love. And the 15th, the openers were Bad Bloom, who were the only opener that, I don't know, I didn't really get into them. They're the one, I sent you the picture of the dude who had
all the pedals,
all the guitar pedals, just unnecessary amount of guitar pedals.
That, yeah, it really was.
So Richie, he had a a big thing of guitar pedals on the floor, which was already probably too many pedals. Like there had to be 12, I think, on this thing. And then he had a keyboard stand, which originally I thought, oh, he had a keyboard on it. And then I noticed, like halfway through the first song, I was like, oh, that's not a keyboard. There's not a keyboard on there. That's more guitar pedals. I'm like, why?
That's like in Spinal Tap 2. He had a million pedals,
Yeah,
and
literally was my thought when I saw
yeah,
it.
like you
none of them,
actually what you said.
I thought none of them actually had anything on them or something. None of them actually were used or whatnot.
I swear, like 9 of he touched like 3 on the floorboard one and like the keyboard stand.
Mm-hmm. He may have started with them on.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, but then Origami
Why he has
Angel,
that many, who knows?
Right, and Origami Angel was the other opener who I feel like they actually used a fair amount of effects on their pedals, but he only had like a small pedal rig set up. I think he maybe had 6 to 8 pedals on his thing. Why did this other guy have like 20? But yeah, and then the Wonder Years, so they were playing their whole No Closer to Heaven album front to back because of the 10th anniversary of it late last year. And then they played a different encore every night. They played 3 songs the same every night in the encore, and then 4 different, I think. But the last night, I think they played 9 total songs in the encore instead of 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were putting on a hell of a show, and then they were at WrestleMania the following Saturday.
So I was actually going to ask you about that. I saw like a clip where it was like the Wonder Years opened for somebody at WrestleMania, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, they do Becky Lynch's entrance now. I think she started using that like late last year.
Huh.
And actually, I recently saw a clip of her on this interview show with this guy, Chris Van Vliet, who interviews wrestlers all the time. Apparently, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are really good friends with Dan Campbell and his family now.
Oh, wow.
So Seth is who got Becky Lynch into liking the Wonder Years, and the whole she wound up reaching out to them to write a new entrance music for her because she thought her current entrance music at the time was like too happy for her character, so she wanted a sadder sounding song. And had to go through hoops of WWE letting her use like a not their in-house band thing that sucks at making entrance music, and let her go use an actual band song. So
yeah, I forget what I was listening to a podcast where people were talking about that, like the whole music thing. Can't remember what podcast it was though.
Was it Bombcast? Did they talk?
Actually, you know what? I think it was this past week's Bombcast.
But yeah, Wonder Years are fucking amazing. They're apparently supposedly going on hiatus now, although before that set of shows even ended, they announced 2 shows, Jimmy Eat World.
Right. Yeah. And of course not the Philly one.
Yeah, no, it's Asbury in Connecticut or something like that.
That sounds right. Definitely Asbury was definitely one of them. How different were the sets each night?
Like 3 songs different. Because like I said, they were doing an album tour, so they played the one album beginning to end. Even Dan's like little spiels between songs were basically the exact same every night, except for the very, very last night. I felt like he got extra talky, which was fine.
He probably needed a break from singing.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he even said every night that all the people who have been here more than one night, you're going to hear the same things. So sorry, but also not sorry.
Yeah, like thanks for coming.
But yeah, like I said, it was like 3 or 4 songs in the encore changed otherwise it was same first 12 songs for the album. The first song in the encore, except the last night they changed the order of the encore. The first song in the encore every other night was the last 2 songs in encore were the same every single night. The last 2 songs were Goddamn It All and Came Out Swinging.
Okay, yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, so that's like the 8th time in the last 2.5 years I've seen them or something like that.
Yeah, and they always put on a good show.
Yeah, they're fucking amazing live. We got guitar picks from I think everyone in Wonder Years.
Oh,
Or
nice.
no, we were missing one. We got some sort of set list, but it wasn't like actually the set list. It looked like it was the encores, and it was from the guitar tech. And I think he had the tuning written on the sides, because like it was like C and then an arrow down to a D.
Oh yeah, so like
and
drop
then-
C, stuff like that.
Yeah, so that was a interesting thing to get. We got I got a set list from Spanish Love Songs. Did we get anything from Oso Oso? I think we got a guitar pick from them. But yeah, we were like either at the barricade or one person away from barricade all 4 times. And yeah, live music, it's fun.
Nice. Glad you had a good time with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not have a good time at a Wonder Years show.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But also, doing the same one, 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, if it was all the same openers every night, I don't know that we would have done the 4 shows, but with it being different openers, and especially Oso Oso the one night, and then Spanish Love Songs and Bike Routes the other night, it was like, well, we need to go to those 2. And then they announced the 2 extra shows, and Origami Angel was on the one of them, and we were like, and we're able to get last minute tickets basically for face value. So
yeah,
actually, I think we even got the one for only $40 instead of 60 or whatever they were face value.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mentioned that to Rich last week. I'm like, you probably wouldn't have gone to as many of them as you did if it wasn't different openers every night.
Yeah, and yeah, it was also nice that they changed at least a couple songs in the encore. But yeah, the other different openers, the thing that definitely made it like more, it pushed more to going to the multiple shows of it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess, shall we talk about Seven Samurai?
Yeah, let's do it. What'd you guys think?
I didn't like it.
No?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
I was bored through most of it. I had to restart it twice because I could not focus on it at all.
That's probably part of your problem. Why you had to restart a 3.5-hour movie twice.
So it was within the hour, the first hour of it.
Still,
I was never more than 45 minutes into it.
Which turns that movie into a 6-hour movie for you.
True. And I actually took a break during the intermission because I had to do some stuff for work and then went back to it after lunch.
I mean, that's
I took like an hour. I took like an hour break in the middle. I was able to focus on the back half better actually after having like a break from it. Like I didn't have anything to do for work that day, really. I just had like some emails to catch up on over that like break I took. So like I put it on first thing in the morning and like just had it on and was just really bored. And that's why I had to restart it because like I wasn't paying attention, and since it was subtitles, like when I was like kind of like dazed over, like I obviously had no idea what was happening because I wasn't like keeping up with the subtitles. And then coming back on like the second half, like I still didn't enjoy it as much, but I was able to like focus in a little bit better.
I mean, the second half was definitely the better half.
Agreed.
Because like that's when everything happened. The first half was all of the build up and introducing the characters and teaching you about the world and the setting and everything like that. So it was definitely slower and intentionally slower. I was intrigued the whole time because it's like it's character development and it's story building, it's world building. Did it need to be 3.5 hours? No, but in 1954, what the fuck else are they doing?
Well, also in 1954, like going like a movie was like an event.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like Godzilla wasn't 3.5 hours in 1954. Godzilla, I think it was only an hour and a half. But like you said, it was an event. What the hell else are you doing in 1954 to kill time? It was a big deal. They had an intermission in it.
Yeah.
But like
it
overall,
wasn't a bad movie. I just don't think it wasn't my kind of movie.
Yeah, probably.
I've come to realize I don't really like old movies.
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
Older than like the 70s, and I can't get into them.
Yeah. I'm like sort of reverse you. Like older than the 70s, and I'm into it, but then between the 70s and 90s, I'm not.
I kind of feel like I'm the same. It definitely was too long. I don't know what they would have cut out really from the first half. The second half is like perfect the way it was.
Yeah.
I feel some of the build up to recruiting the Seven Samurai was a little drawn out, maybe. But again, I don't know where they actually
Yeah,
cut anything from that.
and when it comes to that, like the amount of cutting that you would do you can't cut there. You're not going to cut more than like 5 minutes.
Right. So
Exactly.
why cut 5 minutes at that point?
Exactly. When it comes to when it comes to a 3.5 hour movie and you're trying to cut for time, and it's like, oh well, we can cut out like 5 minutes. It's like, okay, well then just keep it 3.5 hours. Like you're not cutting much time. Oh, we can take out the intermission at that point or something like. Well, yeah, like I thought the story building, I thought like the characters that they had in it were great. Were all like cool characters. What about anime dude? Like,
Well, I have no idea who you're talking
Yeah,
about
I
when you
don't
say
know who
anime
you're
dude.
talking about.
dude with the fucking sword over his shoulder that walked wide, man.
Oh, the guy with like the bigger sword than everybody else.
Yeah, I don't. His name started with a K. He's
guy?
100. Huh?
The drunk guy.
He was drunk. Yeah, at the one point, like
Okay.
at the one point they show him he was drunk, and
When
like
he first shows up,
not when he first shows up. He shows up and he's following them at one point, trying to join up with. So when the first samurai that they recruit, as they're following him, the other samurai, the samurai trainee, joins up with that first samurai, and then they go to talk to him, and that guy joins up with him again. And you're following him. You're following between the two of them for a while, and then he like brushes him off, and then they recruit the first samurai with his trainee, and then like later on they reintroduce him again, and he's drunk, but he's 100% the epitome of like anime tough dude. Like the only thing he was missing is the pompadour hairstyle.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but I mean, it was a different time period, right?
Yeah, but like he's holding the sword over his shoulder, walking very wide and like with intention, but also being goofy. I was like, this is 100% where they got all fucking anime tropes from. Was this guy right here? And honestly, this movie, I'm sure there's so many anime tropes that they got just in general from this movie.
Well,
The
I mean,
only thing
There's
they
so many
anime
Kojima
tropes.
in this movie. Too.
Yeah, it's tropes in general. Like, this movie is basically a Bug's Life.
Yeah.
Well, A Bug's Life is basically.
I mean, yes, but I like A Bug's Life better.
I liked this better than A Bug's Life.
Hey, you can be wrong. It's all right. Honestly, I haven't
I-
seen A Bug's Life in 20 years. I couldn't, probably more than 20 years. I don't know if I like it better.
Probably.
No, probably not. But it's
You
very
might-
much like a similar story.
You might be thinking Ants that doesn't hold up. I'm sure A Bug's Life probably holds up.
Ants almost certainly doesn't. I don't know.
100% doesn't because of what's his name? Fucking
know.
hell. What's his name in Ants?
I didn't know there was somebody in Ants. Like like, that was another movie. Like
Woody
definitely
Allen. Didn't Woody Allen get canceled?
I mean, he's been canceled like 20 times over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I don't know. He's had cancellation or something.
Yeah. But also, and he kind of
sex abuse allegations.
Yeah. He's always been problematic. He was problematic when that movie came out.
Exactly.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it. I feel like it built a good story. It really introduced a lot. Like it did things that in modern day would go across two movies with an additional half hour. Like instead of being an hour and a half, it would be a 2 hour plus movie on either side. They did it in technically less time in one single movie. They told a whole complete story from beginning to end, introducing like the hardships and everything that these characters were going through. And like there were definitely like some scenes that I do agree, even in the latter half, that were like, wasn't it really necessary? Like the sex scene between the samurai and the girl, which there wasn't a sex scene, but they ended up having sex, and it was like it was a big deal. Like that whole situation was just awkward, but it's also like a history piece sort of thing. It's a time piece. What's that word?
A period piece?
A period piece, yeah. And so times were different back then. And so, like, not saying that, like, apparently samurai weren't as honorable as I always thought they were. And, like, according to this movie, they were kind of bandits themselves. And kind of, like, in this time frame at least, kind of not great and not respected. And they ended up...
that's also the thing is like different eras, like samurai were viewed and treated differently.
Yeah. So it's an era of samurai that I didn't know of. I want to know why, and this is not like something that I really know how to Google, but like why would everyone have their hair shaved at the top of the head but not around it? Like every hairstyle was that, and I was just like, that is like in 1950s or in the not 1950s or in the 1500s, everyone had that same hairstyle. I just want to know like what the cultural norms were to have like that sort of hairstyle.
Yeah, like I was thinking the same thing. Like, because like the one guy that you're calling that you refer to as the anime guy, like he's the only one that had like a full head of hair. Right?
Yeah, like a few of them had a full head of hair, but like it was just there's really like you said, yeah, you're right. It was only him that had that one, and everyone else had basically a bald head shaved into their head, and I was just like, that's. I wonder what the cultural reasoning was for doing that all like that long ago.
Yeah, like the first couple of people like that, I was just like, oh, are they just trying to make like, are they supposed to be bald, but like they could only do like a bad shave job? And then like I saw more people like that. I'm like, oh no, this is actually like the style for whatever
It's
reason.
the style from that time frame. Yeah, I don't know. Like I understand why it being a classic and why it's like shouted as like one of the must sees. Like it's probably one of like the 100 must see movies or whatever. I understand it. Like it is a very good movie. It is very well done. As much as I can tell from being an only English speaking person watching a Japanese spoken movie, the acting was done very well, even for the 1950s. I thought it was all like obviously there weren't a lot of like effects to it. There was no blood. Which was crazy. But
Yeah,
like
that was kind of interesting.
they did the best they could with what they had, and I'm sure Japan in the 1950s wasn't like that. Like movie making back then, even in the United States, wasn't like making that much money at the time. I'm sure in Japan it was even lesser. So, but it just I'm happy I was fine. I've watched it. I'm not upset I watched it at all. I enjoyed it. I sat down strictly to watch it for 3.5 hours. I just sat down Sunday morning and just sat there and watched it. And like I admit there were times that I was just like I started to pull up my phone, especially during the first half.
Same.
Or like I needed like a fidget or something just because like it is a long time, 3.5 hours. But it was like when the intermission came up, I was actually very happy because I'd ordered food and food had arrived as the intermission started. And I
Honestly,
didn't
I
have
think I got there like a couple minutes before intermission as well.
Yeah. So like I didn't have to pause it to set anything up or anything like that. I was able to just go grab the food, set it up on the table, get a drink, whatever, sit down, and by the time I was done the intermission was over. The only thing I hated most was that the credits are at the beginning of the movie. So I had to fast forward to 3 minutes. I meant to text you guys to let you know like skip to 3 minutes. But that's a product of its time from
Yeah.
then. The second half, like we said though, it was definitely much better. It had a lot more story to it, whereas the first half was mostly build up. The second half was like what we were building up to and the story and the actual movie kind of thing. And I liked how like everything like basically went to plan until Anime Dude broke the plan, and then shit kind of went downhill from there. But also they made it work, and they were able to succeed, obviously. And it was I like the message. It was like the samurais were like, this isn't our celebration; it's theirs. They won, we lost, and showed all the what was it? Was it 5 samurai that died? 4 samurai that
4.
died? And yeah, it was yeah. There were definitely like I said, awkward scenes, but not really bad scenes in my opinion.
Yeah, like it wasn't a bad movie. I just didn't have a good time watching it. Is really the thing.
Well, you're definitely you're not gonna like Doomsday.
Doomsday?
Avengers Doomsday, rumored to be at about 3 hours and 48 minutes.
Oh, I mean, like honestly, like I'll
I
probably
know.
watch. I'm not seeing it in the theaters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But like I haven't watched basically any of this most recent phase. I think I saw Captain America.
Yeah. Well, I'm just more here to talk about the current rumored runtime of 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to end up getting cut down a little bit. Like that, I feel like that's an exaggeration, but
Again, it's just a rumor, yeah.
yeah,
Like, but we don't know for sure. But I don't know. Wakanda Forever ran over 3 hours.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, like at this, like,
No, it was 2 hours and 41 minutes. Apparently, it felt like it was 6 hours.
oh yeah, I definitely thought it had hit the 3 hour mark.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, like I actually have no intention of watching Doomsday, like
yeah.
in the short term. I just like the I think the only Marvel movie I'm going to see this year is Spider-Man, and it'll be like after it hits streaming.
Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense. The other thing that their Marvel is doing, and I know this is just kind of a tangent, and I just think it's really dumb. So let's set the scene here. When did Endgame come out?
Oh right, 2019. They're doing the re-release with new footage or whatever.
Let me set the scene though. 2019, Endgame comes out, and they have a plan to move forward with the multiverse saga with Kang the Conqueror. Then the multiverse saga kind of falls apart because Jonathan Majors gets canceled. And instead of recasting him, they just cut out Kang the Conqueror and come up with this idea to have Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. In to finalize the multiverse saga. And then now with a re-release that they're putting out into theaters of Endgame, they are adding a scene of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom in there somewhere.
Probably as a credit scene.
It's so I texted my brother. And he was like, it's probably at the very end. If you wait till the very end credits, you hear the hammering of him when he was making his Iron Man suit. That it might just be like adding something with that, with him like making his Doctor Doom mask or something like that.
Yeah, like it's not worth it to go see the movie again, basically.
I wasn't going to go see the movie either way. Like, I didn't even know that they were re-releasing it until I saw the words, like, adding a scene for the re-release. And I'm like... That's dumb. You're trying to change the past to fit the present of something that you weren't planning for, and instead of just recasting this character that you had plotted your whole story around, you rewrote everything, and now you're trying to make it seem as if this character has been in there the whole time. And that's not true. We all know it's not true. Everyone who follows this knows it's not true. All this is you want to try to get more people to come to the movies to see this movie for capitalism reasons.
Well, and I mean, that's exactly what it is. Like, these movies are not making the same money they did 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Like, I'm not the only person that has just given up on these movies for the most part. Robert Downey Jr. as the villain is going to get people to go see that movie.
Yeah, but that's Doomsday.
No, but I mean, like because he's in the villain in Doomsday, people are going to go see Endgame again because they're going to think that it's going to have a bigger impact.
No, and it's not, and that's like
it won't, but people are going to think it will.
Yeah, it's like, and there are people out there that like would go see the re-release either way. Like my brother went and saw all 3 Lord of the Rings movies when they recently re-released them for the 25th anniversary. I'm not somebody to go re-watch a movie X amount of years after it's been released for an added scene or whatever. Like maybe if I were to actually meet the director while there and have a meet and greet or something like that, sure. But if it's like, I think the Lord of the Rings thing ended up being like you got to watch an interview with Peter Jackson or with somebody before watching the movie, and it was the 25th anniversary, and it's like that's not. I'll just wait for that to be on VOD. Like when it comes to the Avengers thing, like I'm in the middle of my rewatch of the Marvel movies currently. I just watched Iron Man 2. I'll get to Endgame around when the Endgame is out in theaters, but I'll just rewatch Endgame again to see it, and when it's on VOD to see the added scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not gonna.
You have it worked out to basically finish up like in like December, right?
It is. So if I were to watch one movie a week every week from here on out, the last week I would be watching a movie would be the week that the movie comes out as well. So I would need to watch 2 movies that week. One being the nuts. What just came out before Spider-Man? What was the last Marvel movie?
Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four, yeah. Fantastic Four would be watched the same week as me watching Doomsday. However, that also includes me having to watch Spider-Man, or 2 movies the week Spider-Man comes out, or waiting until Spider-Man is on VOD to watch 2 movies between then and the time of Doomsday. But I was going to go see Spider-Man either way on opening weekend. That's my birthday weekend. I was just going to do it. So yeah, like it's 37 movies in 37 weeks, basically. So yeah, like I'll end up rewatching Endgame, and if it's the special edition version, like I'll just watch that version and see what that ending is. But like to me, and I said this to my brother, I'm like, what you're doing with this is Han shot first, is what you're doing. You're putting something in there to change something up just in the slightest bit to make somebody feel a little bit differently about a character, or which isn't really going to change anybody's opinion, and everyone knows what's going on here anyway.
So
Like,
I don't fully agree with that, because like the Han shooting first like fundamentally changes the scene. Like we were just saying, like they are not adding anything legitimate into this movie. It's going to be like an end credits teaser is all it's going to be. So like it's still stupid. I agree with that, but it's not the same as like the special editions for Star Wars. It's actually worse in a lot of ways, because they're going through all this trouble of re-releasing it in theaters, and it's going to add nothing to the film itself.
yeah, like I want to find the article that like I saw that like I want to find the article that I want to see what they say about what they're adding to it.
Everything I've seen, they don't say what they're adding. They just say that they're adding something to it.
Like they're adding a Doomsday scene to Avengers Endgame is what it is, or something like that.
Yeah, which is why that's why I'm assuming it's a credit scene. The same, it's going to be like the older, like the early MCU movies where they actually like the credit scenes tended to be a little bit more like villain set up, like when they would show like Thanos and stuff like that.
But the plot of what they're doing and what they're trying to throw it in as is they're trying to say, oh, he's been there the whole time. This has been the plan the whole time. Doctor Doom has been behind everything since Endgame. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to lay the foundation, as if they did with Thanos in the Infinity Saga, for Doctor Doom in the Multiverse Saga. That's what they're trying to do with this re-release. They're trying to change up Doctor Doom to have had been the villain the whole time. Similar,
which, like, they have to, because they have to set that narrative. And like really, like Kang was barely like a factor other than in Ant-Man and the Loki show. Like he didn't show up in anything else.
But that's he was supposed to. They at the end of Ant-Man there was the whole like Council of Kangs. Like he was supposed to be big.
Yeah, but even before all that actor had all those issues, like they weren't putting him in anything else. He wasn't in anything before Ant-Man, and like the only other thing he showed up in was Loki.
Ant-Man was like the second movie since like when was it? Ant-Man wasn't too long after Endgame though.
Wasn't it?
Right?
Wasn't it like 2 years after Endgame, and they had all the shows before that?
Yeah, they had all the shows and things like that, but like they were setting up the idea of the multiverse. And the idea
Kang never felt like a major villain to me
because he didn't get a chance to be. They never defeated him.
Thanos felt like a major villain early on.
And again, it's because they were able to seed him throughout the 10 years. They didn't get that opportunity with Kang because Jonathan Majors got canceled so early on into being Kang that they scrapped him.
The first time they showed Thanos was Avengers in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get Endgame until 2019. So what is that?
Yeah.
7 years?
Yes.
So 7 years prior to Endgame, Thanos already felt like a threat because he was a threat. Like the little bit they used Kang up front, he didn't feel like a threat.
I mean, I don't agree. Like what they did.
This is also a problem with these movies. Aren't like they're making these movies to set up future movies now. They're not making them to tell a story anymore.
Well, but that's the thing. Like the Kang stuff that you got to set up, what you got to set up Kang in Loki and in Ant-Man, you got the Council of Kangs as the end credits. You got to see how crazy Kang was in Ant-Man and how much it took to defeat that Kang in Ant-Man, that he was going to be a bigger villain if a different Kang took over or if all the Kangs attacked. And that's what they set up at the end of Ant-Man in the end credits scene, which is similar to how they were setting up Thanos, was throughout the credits scenes. You don't see Thanos at all. It's not that you don't see him at all, but you primarily only see him during the credits scenes. And that's how they set up the threat of Thanos. I think maybe in Avengers he gets like a quick scene with Loki, but not like he's not in any of it. He's like hinted at it, and like everyone knows who everyone learned about who Thanos was once Thanos was announced to be the main villain and the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones. However, it's not like no one really knew how bad it was going to be until Thanos actually came to play
I think the other issue is like the Infinity Stones are the Infinity Stones and Thanos go together. The multiverse and Kang do not go together. Kang is a time traveler. Like it makes no sense. And the fact that legitimately the fact that they announced with the whole slate that one of the Avengers movies was going to be Secret Wars, and that was before all the stuff with Jonathan Majors, if I remember correctly. Doctor Doom makes more fucking sense. Like, because they're not doing classic Secret Wars. They're not doing the 80s Secret Wars. Like, that just wouldn't happen. But the 2015 Secret Wars, Doom was the villain. He was the big bad behind all of it. You just didn't realize he was behind all of it until, like, it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's no point in... I mean, sure. Yes. Like, I don't know. I don't think the adding of any sort of scene is going to help push the narrative that Doom was behind it all.
It won't. It's going to be a waste of time. It's just going to be a shitty credit scene.
And if for 3.5 hours of Doomsday, part of it is going to be Doom was behind it all and showing you how Doom was running the Fox universe and the Sony universe and everything that's going on from here on out to push these multiverses into the one and whatnot. Like it's like, no, like stop. It's gonna make it bad. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's dumb that they're adding a scene, whatever it could be, into. I think it's a waste of time, and it just feels like they're trying to rewrite history to something to fit the narrative better because I don't know. I feel like they messed up, and they should have just recasted Jonathan Majors.
They don't like recasting people, though.
I mean, true, but
like they haven't recast anybody since Terrence Howard.
Cheadle. Yeah, Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard.
And that was frankly before the MCU became what it is.
Yeah, but also we have now established in the MCU that multiple people can be the same person. We have 3 different Peter Parkers.
Yeah,
we have, and with that we have 2 different Eddie Brocks. Like and at least 2 different Gwen Stacy's. Yeah, and potentially 3. Like they could easily just have explained, like, oh, this is just a different Kang. This is just a universe where this Kang looks different. And they even set up in the Council of Kangs that some of them do look different. I think some of them were, like, Skrull Kangs and stuff like that as well. Like, I can't fully remember. It's been a while since I watched Quantum Mania. But, like, it's not really recasting the same character.
But like even then, like again, like Kang was a shitty choice for the multiverse saga. Like they're actually better off having not recast him.
I mean, you can say that based on your knowledge of comics, but you can't say that based on what they were having, what they potentially were planning. You don't know what they were planning.
I mean, that's true. I'm going off of also what I saw, and like I thought Loki was not. Like, the second season of Loki, I didn't even finish because I was bored with it.
Honestly,
Ant-Man wasn't great.
The second season of Loki was them writing out Jonathan Majors.
Oh, did that happen after everything with him? I thought it was before.
Well, Jonathan Majors was in Loki, in season 2 of Loki. Like, it was all about Kang. But, like, I feel like the ending, I don't know, but I feel like the ending was them trying to write him out.
Oh, like all the stuff with him had already gone down by the time they got to that?
I think so.
You might be right. Like I said, we didn't even finish the season. Like we got like halfway, 3/4 of the way through it, and it wasn't as good. Like the first season was actually really good for Loki. The second season just wasn't.
Yeah. So Jonathan Majors' allegations were at the end of 2023, December 2023. Loki season 2 premiered in October of 2023. So
okay.
Although, like it happened, he was convicted in December,
but everything
started in March. It started in March of that year, is when he was when the altercation started. So I feel like, and I don't know for sure, I haven't looked into it, but it's like a potential rewrite to where Loki is now the controller of time in the multiverse. Or in the multiverse. He controls the thread of time, and basically the world tree has become the multiverse. It was them just finding a way to cut out Kang at the end. And being like,
Probably.
all right, well, like, we don't need him anymore because we're firing him anyway. Yeah. So it's like they were starting to set it up, and they ended up having to write him out and then having to change things up. And like, yes, based on your knowledge of movies and of comics, I'm sure Kang isn't as big of a villain as, say, Doctor Doom is, but based on what they were building.
I think Kang's a shitty character. Like, his whole thing is like it's time travel, and like we did time travel in the last movie. Like,
yeah, but I mean the way
and multiverses aren't time travel. That's the other thing.
But they are. A multiverse is just something in time happening differently.
I mean, yeah, yes, but like, I mean,
and that's
focusing
100%.
on a multiverse and focusing on a dude whose entire thing is he jumps through time. Like, not the same.
I mean, he created the TVA to make sure that multiverses don't happen. Like, that was his whole thing in Loki. At the end of Loki, he was like, "Oh yeah, we stop the alternate timelines. We stop the multiverse, and there's only one prime timeline, which was the one we were watching." And then at the end of Loki season 2 is when, like, all right, well, Loki is now making sure all the timelines can happen.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just silly. It's silly to me. We'll see what happens when Doomsday comes out. I'm sure I'll have feelings about whether it was. I'm sure it'll be good. I'm just.
My expectations for it are like rock fucking bottom.
Yeah, well, you're burnt out on the superhero movies. You don't really watch them anymore.
Well, like you also just said, though, it's rumored to be over 3 hours. They're putting every single actor they possibly can into this movie. The movie's going to have zero fucking time to really tell a story.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued in Doomsday. I'm so interested in Doomsday. Zero interest in rewatching Endgame in theaters.
Yeah,
100% interest in Doomsday.
Endgame worked because everyone didn't show up until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, if every hero that was in Endgame was in it from the beginning, that movie would have been a fucking train wreck.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is like, they're still planning for Secret Wars. And
that's a year after Doomsday.
Yeah, so this is setting up similar how Infinity War set up Endgame. Doomsday is setting up Secret Wars, which is then going to turn into whatever it is. There's no more time. There's no more multiverse or whatever, like the Ultimate Saga or whatever they're going to do next.
I assume they're going to try and pick from the actual Secret Wars story with that, and it'll literally be like something happens and Doom collapses all of the universes into one that's like in his image.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll end with them recreating the multiverse.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. But moving on, because what's the next movie?
Oh yeah,
I believe it's you, Cobb.
It is. So I'm picking D2 The Mighty Ducks.
I mean, I guess that's a team-up movie.
It is, because not only does that one bring in like you have the original team who is like rusty and hasn't played together in a while. It also brings in all of the other Team USA people who they don't get along with up front at all.
I mean, I guess it's probably more of a team-up movie in the terms of the prompt than The Expendables was a team-up movie in the terms of the prompt.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess like The Expendables, they were already a team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
D2.
That's fine. That works. So now that we just spent some time talking about Marvel, Cobb, tell us more about Marvel.
Yeah. So last week I had talked about how awful Venom had been.
Yeah.
On the plus side, Daredevil actually a lot better.
Nice.
Yeah. So I started reading. So technically, this run started at the end of 23, and it's picking up from the Chip Zdarsky run that was actually like critically acclaimed and shit. And this one picks up where at the end of that run, Matt sacrifices himself and basically goes to hell to save a bunch of other people. And this run picks up some months later where he was resurrected, but not as like the Matt Murdock that he had been previously. He was resurrected as a Catholic priest, with like the memories of like going through like priest school and all of that stuff. But like still with like his knowledge and memories of being Daredevil. And he's running like a foster house for like troubled kids, basically. But he's also the volume picks up with him kind of having to like be Daredevil again.
Mhm.
So he went from like not really being Daredevil, getting into some scrapes every now and then, to not being, to like actually putting on the suit to go like try and fix some things. And the whole it's actually one of the more interesting things going on is normally like when like comics have like 3, 4, 5 issue like story arcs, and then like it kind of resets to another one. I'm 17 issues in so far of 25 that it's all just been this one single arc the whole way through, where this basically like the 7 deadly sins are possessing people that Matt has some sort of connection to, and pushing him. So I think we've had, God, who was it? So Elektra was one, Foggy was one, Fisk was one, She-Hulk was one. So they've gotten through 5 so far. Where like each time he basically has had to confront them, get the shit kicked out of him, and then because he was a priest in this like weird alternate rebirth thing, actually exorcise them. The current one he's up to now, though, is he just he basically gave up his whole priesthood thing, because everything just went to shit. And now he can't actually exorcise the demon. The demon just basically laughed at him. But it's been interesting to kind of see like one long story get told, instead of like a lot of comics will have like the longer story arc through like a run, but there'll be like these like little micro stories in between it. Yeah, kind of like the MCU. Like if you look at like the Infinity Saga, like the individual movies had their little story arcs, but then you had the overarching thing with Thanos happening. That's how comics usually do it. It's like, okay, well, here's a 3-issue story where Daredevil fights Bullseye, and in the background there'd be all of these like demon things happening. But this has just been one continuous arc of him dealing with this stuff and like fallout and all these things, trying to be like a role model for these kind of like wayward children and stuff like that, coming to terms with the people that thought he was still dead. Because like Matt Murdock doesn't exist. Like Matt Murdock is dead by all official records and stuff. The person he is now is this priest who like I said, like grew up, went to seminary. Seminary is what priests go to, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, like went to seminary, took the vows, like is a priest in this like iteration of him. But like as he's like seeing people, like they do recognize him. So it's kind of like a weird. It's not like a Wonderful Life sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a good run so far. And a lot of times with comics, when like when a run is really good, a lot of times like the run after it ends up being like a little bit more lackluster. Part of it might just be like there's so much hype for the previous run that like the new person's coming in and they oftentimes have to kind of like not like start over, but like they have to rebuild, because one thing comics always try to do is sort of like reset at the end of like a major run, so that like the new team coming in doesn't have to like piece together an entire, like not piece together, doesn't have to like pick up where somebody else left off. They can kind of like pick up their own story. And I feel like this one, they actually let the ending happen of the last one. And rather than just doing like a weird time skip where suddenly he's just Matt Murdock, lawyer, and Daredevil again, they brought in, they kind of like continued that arc just under like a new creative team, which is cool. Cause like,
yeah,
it's working so far. And like throughout the whole thing, they're referencing stuff from that run. And they're also like Elektra is still like also Daredevil. Like she picked up being Daredevil in the previous run when Matt was in prison for, I guess manslaughter is the best thing. Like he unintentionally killed somebody. while trying to save somebody else.
Yeah.
So like he went to prison as Daredevil, like kept the mask on the whole time. And then Elektra, knowing that like Hell's Kitchen needed a Daredevil, like picked up being Daredevil and like stopped murdering people. And frankly, her Daredevil costume way cooler than regular Daredevil because she's also kind of like a ninja. So her costume's like half like ninja clothes, half like Daredevil with like the red mask and like the horns and all.
Yeah.
And also instead of using the fucking cane, her little like whip things are her size. Like Daredevil's cane has like the long lasso he uses to like swing on things. Hers is actually like her size, so it's more like a grappling hook because she can just like shoot the fucking blades off of it and have it like hook on to something.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been a fun run so far. Like I said, it's 25 issues, which I didn't realize it actually ended last September, and there hasn't been a Daredevil since then. I was like looking at the issues, I'm just like, oh, that's weird. Like 25 is the last one I seem to have, and it says 2025 still. I should have at least 2 or 3 that are 2026 at this point. And I Googled it and I'm like, no, they took like a 7-month break with no Daredevil comic happening. The new volume actually just started like 2 weeks ago. So I'm curious to catch up and kind of see where this run leaves off at and like where a new one picks up, especially after such like a long gap. Because usually when there's a gap like that, they do kind of like, it ends up being a very different feel to the story. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's Daredevil. It's fun. I enjoy it. Daredevil's not a comic I ever thought I would actually enjoy, but the last probably like 10 years of Daredevil have actually been really good.
I'm glad it's better than the comics you read last week. Cause
yeah, no, like, Venom was very bad.
It's always been the funny thing to me with you comic readers is it's seldom that I hear you actually say that comics were good.
Well, because you know what it is, like it's easier to talk about the ones that suck because they sucked. But like a really easy way to like for me to identify if I'm enjoying something or not. So I've read the 17 issues of Daredevil plus the 4 issues of Daredevil Woman Without Fear, which is just like a little 4-issue Elektra Daredevil story. In the last 2 days. It took me a week to read 22 issues of Venom because like it was such a bummer to read it. Like they just weren't good. So it's like I'd read like 2 of them. I'm like, all right, I just don't want to read anymore because these weren't good. But like I had a little bit of time between like finishing work and Erica getting home. I ended up reading like 5 issues of Daredevil just because I'm like, oh, these like they just read quickly. They're interesting. You kind of want to see where they leave off because like they do leave off on a cliffhanger most of the time, and usually it's a cliffhanger where you're like, okay, I want to know where this leads to.
Yeah.
So it's always nice when that's the case.
Yeah.
But you're also not wrong. Like comics are very hit or miss. Like when they're good, they're really good. Like Tom Taylor's Nightwing. That entire run was fantastic. But it's also one of those things like it's so good you just don't talk about it because what are you gonna say? Like this was great. It's one of those ones where I'd rather people read it than like me spoil it for them.
Yeah, but then you got to think, me and Drew aren't going to read it. So tell us about it. Tell us the story. Tell us what was good. What was the good writing? How was the
Drew
good art?
Drew doesn't care about Nightwing or Daredevil for that matter.
Tell me all about the good story. I'm sure Drew likes to hear a good story.
Drew, do you like good stories?
Good stories are good stories, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, we're not gonna. That's one thing as a podcast. Like I love our listeners, but we are here having a conversation with each other, so that's why we do the spoiler warnings. But if it's a really good book, especially if it's a good book that's a few years old, or even at this point a few months, it's like, all right, you have to play on the assumption that they've already read it. At this point, it's just going to be easier to have that conversation and not worry about wanting people to read it, but also you telling us how good it was and what made it good and like the good points about it may get somebody to go read it.
Yeah, that's very true. And like right now, me being so behind and catching up on a lot of these books makes that easier to do. Like something like I use Nightwing because that was just a very good run all the way through. Yeah. But I read that book, so I want to say Tom Taylor picked it up in like 17 or 18. It's been a while. He did like 60 issues of Nightwing, and it's a monthly book, so like however long that is.
Yeah.
Maybe actually no, I think it was more than 60. regardless, he had a very long run. It was a lot of issues. I read most of them, monthly as they were coming out. So
Mhm.
like when I went back to like finish it like earlier this year, it was the last story arc, which again was a very good story, but it was good mostly because of everything that came before it.
Mhm.
And it's been so long I don't remember all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I just started this Daredevil run at issue 1. I'm totally like I know exactly what's going on because I've just read 16 issues straight of it.
Right. Sometimes you just got to go back and reread the entire comic series to remember why it was so good to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, and like there's certain things like bits stand out. So like just to talk about Nightwing for a minute. So prior to like Tom Taylor's run, they had done like some weird shit with Nightwing where like he basically got like erased from everyone's memory, and became like a secret agent for a little while.
Hmm.
But then like what he came back as Nightwing, he got shot in the head by KG Beast, and he spent like a year not having like any memory of himself. So like he went back to like Bloodhaven where he's like lives, but like he was not Nightwing for that year. Like he was just kind of like this guy who was trying to like put his life back together essentially.
Hmm.
Once they kind of finished that up and transitioned to him back being like knowing who Dick Grayson is, like knowing that he is Dick Grayson, knowing that he's Nightwing and all that stuff. They had a lot of issues in there that had him meeting up with like other heroes that he was friends with that like hadn't seen him since he got shot in the head basically. And like one of the ones that was one of the best ones that they did was I'm trying to remember like what else was going on around the story, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But basically, stuff was going on. Dick inherited when Alfred died. Dick is actually the one that inherited like millions of dollars from Alfred because apparently Alfred was a millionaire. He just didn't tell anybody.
Makes
um,
sense. He's probably been just like taken a little off the top of the Wayne family for his
yeah.
whole life.
So, but he left his millions to Dick, and then Dick turned around and basically tried to invest that stuff to like rehab Bloodhaven because Bloodhaven's basically the Camden to like Philadelphia's Gotham
Hmm.
is probably the best way to like describe it for us. Um, and bad guys are going to be bad guys, and they're there kind of like making problems for him. One of the bad guys that comes for him is KG Beast again, who's like been hired to take out Dick Grayson this time, not Nightwing. And Dick gets the Titans, who like he's a member of, to like help with this thing. And there's a few page scene where they basically get ambushed by KG Beast and some other bad guys, and Wally West Flash is there, and he just destroys everybody. And like it's just a page of him beating KGB senseless, basically like telling him if he ever takes a shot at one of his friends again, they'll never find the pieces of him. And like you don't often see the heroes do that.
Yeah.
And even like around that time, like there was an issue of Batman that when Dick got shot in the head, Batman tracked KGB to like some random shack in Russia and broke like every bone in his body and just left him there.
Hmm.
But anyway, Daredevil has been very good, and I've enjoyed
Nice.
it.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Like, so I mentioned before, like Wilson Fisk ended up being one of the possessed people. I think he had greed, might have been the sin he had, which tracks for Fisk. But something happened when Matt like did exercise him, and like he started begging for forgiveness, and like not like begging like Daredevil to forgive him, like begging Matt as a priest to grant him like forgiveness the way like a priest would like grant like absolve you of your sins.
Hmm.
And that was like 2 issues ago, so they haven't really like caught back up on that yet because like Matt had other stuff to go deal with. So I'm curious to see like how that plays out because I see the covers for some of the upcoming issues and like Fisk is on them, so like he's got to be playing like a larger part in this coming up soon.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rich, what is innovation?
All right. So, Innovation is a card game that's basically based around chaos. Which is pretty. It's a pretty simple like rule set, but each card has its own separate rule set. Basic idea is like you are putting together your tech tree in like a Civ like sim type game where you're trying to build up your industry and your technology and your education and your this and that and whatever and blah blah blah, your media, your whatnot. And you're doing that by going across the different ages. There are 11 different age cards that you can go across in this edition. This is 4th edition. And just as the game progresses, you just draw cards, play cards, and do what the cards say, basically. Each player has 4 separate actions that they can do on their turns. Meld, which is playing a card from your hand onto your board or onto the table in front of you. Draw, which is just drawing a card from whichever deck you're supposed to draw from. Achieve, which is obtaining an achievement card that will help you potentially win the game. Or Dogma, which is performing an action on the card itself. And yeah, like the game is just everybody has 2 actions. You take your 2 actions, and then it goes to the next turn, and you just go on from there. The goal of the game is to get, it is up to 6 achievements. So it's 6 achievements if it's a 2-player game, and 1 less for each additional player. So if it's a 3-player game, it's 5. It's a 4-player game, it's 4. And you just need to get achievements by gaining points and having enough points, which equals the balance that you need to get the achievements. Once you have that, you use the action to gain the achievement, put it onto your board. Once you get 4, you win. However, there's several win conditions like most other Civ games. There's the achievements by gaining 4 achievements. There is just points. So if at any point in time you cannot draw a card, it basically means you've gone across all 11 ages and the 11th deck is gone, then the game ends right then and there. You tally up everyone's points, and whoever has the most points wins. Then there are specific cards that say, like, if certain things are on the table and you use this card, you win. And it'll just have you win outright. And then lastly, and the least likely, is there are cards that can eliminate other players. And if you eliminate the other players that you're playing against, you obviously win because you have no one else to play against. And so it's very quick and very fast paced, even though like the box says about an hour. It took us 2.5 hours to play. Not expecting it to take that long, but that's just because every card is different. And there were, like, since it was our first time playing, there was a lot of disputes on roles. For instance, one of the cards stated, and I want to ask you guys how you would solve this, basically. The card says, like, after doing an action, if you are the sole player with the lowest number of a specific icon, this happens. Now, in the game, there are 2 types of Dogma cards that can work. There's either the demand cards, which if you have more of a specific icon than somebody else, you demand them to perform an action. Or it's a share action, which it doesn't say share action, it's just every character who has equal or more of that specific icon as you also gets to complete this action. So this one in particular was a share, so everyone who had equal or more than this player would get to partake in this action. So the card says if you are the sole player with the least amount of one specific icon, you have to take a specific action. You have to remove a card or something like that, I think is what it was. Now, we ended up having a discussion about that. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Does that mean that it's everyone on the table, or does that mean just everyone who participated in that action?
Okay.
What do you think? When it says if you are the sole player who has the least amount of this icon, what does sole player in this instance mean? Because
like the only player, right?
Only player on the table, correct?
Yeah, like the
Yeah. So if you did not participate in this, this is how like the rules arguments went into play, and it's why it took us so long. Is somebody read that as only the people who take that action get counted as the sole player, and I'm like, no, that is everyone on the table would have to be counted as all the players, and if you match. So it's like if you're the sole player with the least amount of the icon, if me and you have the least amount of that same icon, each sharing 1 each, and even though I don't partake in that action, we still match. So you don't do that effect. Whereas they were trying to say that it's only on the players who did the action that you count who has the balance. So, like, if 3 of them have it, and I'm not taking that action, and one of them has one of that icon and the rest of them have more, then they were saying like, oh, well, then that happens. And then there was another argument with that same card because they didn't realize that it was only for the people who were active in that had to worry about removing the card. Because they were trying to get somebody else to remove the card, but they didn't partake in the action. It's just, there was a lot of rule disputes. And that's kind of part of the game, is to be pretty chaotic and have a lot of things going on. Every time somebody takes a turn, something happens. And like, it could just completely change up your strategy, but it then ended up being a lot of sitting around waiting for people to plan their actions, when it's like, I'll be honest, half the game I had no cards in my hand. I had no cards in my hand because I had done a couple of actions that had me just play cards, and then I had no cards in my hand, and it kind of screwed me up because there was nothing I could do. I couldn't do anything, and like some of my turns were like I could just draw and then place, and that was my actions: drawing and placing a card, and that was it. I didn't really get a lot of option to do much else. And so like it was good because there was a rule on the card that says that you exchange your cards with somebody else. So it's like the rule was, I demand you to exchange your entire hand with the highest number, with all of the highest number cards in my hand. So my hand was empty, and they had 2 cards in their hand. The rules specifically state in exchanges, because it's a demand, it has to happen, so it could be one-sided. I am exchanging you all of the cards in my hand that is nothing. You're giving me your deck. But then I had to do that with everyone else who was lower than me, which everyone was. So they gave me 2 level 4 cards, and then the next person gave me all of their hand, and I had to give them the 2 level 4 cards that I just got. And then, yeah, it ended up being like, I ended up only coming out with 3 cards instead of like 5 or 6 because I misread the card. Now, granted, there was a lot of stuff going on that day, and I couldn't really think, but it was still like, some of the rules can be a little much and a little convoluted. But it was very interesting. It was very cool. The video that we recorded, like I said, is 2.5 hours. I am not going to try to edit a 2.5 hour video. At least a video like that down to a watt. And like they were like, well, just post it. And I'm like, I could, but there's a lot of downtime of just people thinking, and we had Taylor Swift playing in the background. I'm not going to be able to just post it. Like that's going to be a problem. Like, yeah. So I said to them, I was like, they all like, while playing it, it sounded like they weren't enjoying it. But then at the end, they're like, we actually really like this. It was a really good game. Now that we know how to play, and I was like, all right, well, if you don't mind, can I bring this to our next game night and I record then? So that now that we know how to play, it'll take less time. And they're like, yeah, sure, we can do it that way. So I'm still going to be able to like write the review for it, but I'm just not going to be able to put the play session up of it. But I was like, I may try to figure out how to put a video up of it, but it was so chaotic at times. And like some people
that kind of shows like the gameplay is like not necessarily clear.
But the gameplay is clear. You play a card, or you draw a card, you play a card, or you take an achievement. The gameplay is very clear. It's just every card has its own rules, and every card does a specific thing, and there's nothing to stop those cards from happening when the player decides, I want to use this card. And so, like, there was one that it was one of... Let's see if I can find it real quick. They unlocked nuclear fission. It was their advancement, and they... Let's see if is it a later card? Is this the later side of the deck? No, this is the lower side of the deck. So I need later. Let's see. Fusion. Is this it? No, it wasn't an 11. Hold on. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can find it, so I can read exactly how the card went, because it could have caused so much chaos and like messed everything up. Here it is. Fission. The card reads, I demand you draw a 10 card. If it is red, junk each player's non-achievement cards and the dogma action is complete. And then return a top card other than fission from any player's boards and draw a 10. So the demand was for to if they had the most clocks, they demanded everyone to draw a card. And if the card ended up being red, everybody lost everything besides no, if it's red junk, each player's not achieved. Oh, that would have even affected him. Oh my god. See, and that's the problem. I didn't get to read his card. I thought at the time it said each other players. No, it would have affected him too. And it's non-achievement cards, which means everybody's hand, everyone's board, everyone's scores, all would have been junked. And we would have had to start from fresh at like the later part of the game with no hands in our deck, with nothing in our hands. That would have been even more interesting. I need to bring that up to them. Because we thought it was just going to take out the three of us, not all four of us. So that's actually not a good card to use unless you have the more achievements and are just trying to get the game to end, or if you're running out of running out of time and have low points, and you want to just trash all the points and try to get the win off of achievements or something.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. It's interesting, but yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like each card has its own specific rule set that like will either one person will do or a bunch of people will do, and the strategy of trying to figure out like I had a card early on that was draw a card, and if it has a specific icon on it, score that card and draw another one, and continue to do that until you draw a card that does not have that icon on it. However, it wasn't a demand, it was a share card. So, everyone before me would do it as well if they had a higher icons than I did. So I never got to use it because I didn't want them to potentially score on something that I could have scored on or would have missed out on scoring. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, and now that I think about it, I'm like, I should have just done it because they could have taken the cards that didn't have it, and it's the luck of the draw. It's all random anyway. Should just do it kind of thing. But yeah, it's a really cool game. I like it. I honestly, Drew, you'd probably like it. I think you'd enjoy it. Cobb, because of how many different rules there are with each card and everything doing something differently, I don't know if you would like it.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
It is. It can be. But yeah, I think it's a really cool, really fun game that shouldn't have taken 2.5 hours, but because it was just our first time playing and
that's
first
how
time
all
playing
games
is
are.
always like 50% longer than it should take.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever played a game that says, "Oh yeah, this game is 35 minutes." That's been less than an hour and a half. The first time.
Yeah. So it was other than that, like it was really good. It was really fun. It's the 4th edition. This game's been out since early 2000s. It got the 2010 Golden Geek Award. So like it's a very well known and very well loved game. Like I would love to try it with you, Cobb. I just don't know because each card is so different. I just don't know how you'd feel about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Like I would try it. It does sound like a lot.
Mm-hmm. It is, and that's what it's kind of supposed to be. Is like it's supposed to be like each, and that was like we were running into that problem with people not wanting to do the share. So like they would like spend their time trying to figure out what not to do or how to not do their share action or whatever. And at one point or another, it's like, well, you know what, you should just do. I try to explain to them, you should just do it. Like why? Because then everyone else gets. Because when you do an action that's a share action, all the rest of the players go first before you go. And it goes clockwise. Whoever's next goes clockwise, and then you're the last one to go. However, when you take the share, if somebody takes the share action, you get to draw an additional card for free. So, like, you still benefit from it. You get to draw an extra card. You get more cards. And I tried to explain it. I was like, look, you want to do the share actions. They're like, why? Everyone gets the action themselves. Like, yeah, but maybe, like I was saying with mine, maybe the cards that they're drawing are now the cards you were going to draw, but they're missing out on it. Because 2 people got to draw first and they didn't get to do the second draw or third draw. Now it's your turn. Maybe you'll luck out. Do the share action because you then also get that additional card. And then some cards are just like more overpowered than the other. We had our one friend had a card where it was I demand you to draw a card, and if it has a certain number, you score it with me, and then draw another one. And like she had more of that icon than everyone, so everyone had to do the demand action. Which now, like, I feel like I should try to find that card and read that card to see if we scored it right, because that's just, yeah. I mean, I think we did, because that one was a demand, so it makes sense that we draw and then score it for her or something. But yeah, it was a very fun game, very chaotic. It was also, I ended up, because it was taking so long, at one point I was just, "All right, I just want to end this video. I just want to end this game. It's taking so long." But it also, and he's not listening, but Vince, I love you. I love your dog, but his dog barked for basically 2 hours straight.
Oh,
And I was getting so overstimulated and overwhelmed. I could not think. For the 2 hours that we were playing this game, the dog maybe stopped barking for like 15 minutes. Because, and like, we tried to get the dog to stop barking, and his response was, we just let him bark. It's like, why? Well, the people are walking their dog to the cul-de-sac where they live, and then just standing there, and our dog is then barking at the dog that's out there. And it's like, okay, train your dog to not bark or close the curtains. Like, I know it sucks to have to close the curtains because people are walking their dog to a grass patch, then letting their dog do their business. But like, train your dog not to bark. You shouldn't just let your dog bark. But it was, especially when you've got people there, it was giving me a headache. I was unable to think at times. And so I was just like, I just want to go, because like the dog's bark isn't like, it isn't just like a normal bark. Kind of like barks like an old man. Is the best, like, his voice sounds like very raspy, like he's been smoking 12 packs a day and shit like that.
Oh,
And he's an adorable dog, but he's very loud and very noisy. And he's so small, but his bark just reverberates throughout their house. And so I was just like, at one point, I was just like, I'm not able to think, and I'm not really having a lot of fun right now because my cards aren't working out for me. And I don't know if the no fun is because I'm not enjoying the game, or if because I just can't think because there's just constant noise. I don't know, and I just want to end this game. And then it was, as time went on, and like by like all near the end, I was starting to actually get cards that were working for me. I was starting to actually have a hand and stuff. I was like, all right, this is actually, now I'm getting it, and now I'm understanding it. And then the game was over, and I lost big time. I lost big time. I had no achievements. I barely had any points. However, I did grab a card that, if it got to my next turn, would have gotten me the win, just because of the action I was going to take to get the win. And it said, like, if you have the most of this icon, you win. And I was going to win, but ended up not being able to do that. But it was fine. We'll play it again.
I mean, hey, at least you, like, even with that stuff aside, like, seems like you still had a good time with it.
Yeah, it needs more. Yeah, you need to be able to pay attention, and you need people who are willing to let you read their card, because that also ended up being one of the problems. Is one person was like, they were like, I don't know what this means. All right, well, let me read it. No. Okay, then I can't help you. Like, you have to, and then it's like, some of the cards will say reveal, and it's like, all right, you have to reveal it. You have to show us the card. Well, it's not what it's supposed to be. I don't care. The card says reveal it. You have to reveal your card. That's what the action was. Whether it is or isn't what you needed it to be, you still have to reveal it. So it's just like, there are certain instances where it's like, look, like, this game would have gone a lot faster if you just
played the game right.
Played the game right, or did what the card said, or if you had a question, just showed us. It's not like I'm going to be able to properly steal your card from you unless I have a action that says I can steal your card from you, but I can't. I don't have that action. You can see my hand. You can see my table. I don't have an action that lets me steal a card from you. And it's your turn anyway, so I can't steal it from you, because you can only take actions on your turn unless somebody else gives you an action to take first. But yeah, so yeah, it was. We'll play it again next week, or next month, or next time. And I'll get a proper, like, let's play on it. I will try to get an actual, like, video about it, though, or like a review on it or something. But I'll get an actual let's play about it in a couple of weeks, in a few months.
Nice.
Yeah. Innovation, 4th edition from Asmati Games. It was really cool. It was really interesting.
Cool. And I think that's probably a show then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, if you would like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. Can't support us every dollar. You can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. Those things all help. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And our Blue Sky is at one-quest.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social1-quest.com. And then, Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/B_1us for video game streaming, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. I'm currently just playing Lies of P and Resident Evil Requiem and Sea of Thieves and stuff, so come check that out. But I do want to say, there will be a link in the description. Cobb, remember this. There will be a link in the description down below. Connecting to a TikTok video of mine that I would love if you're listening to this prior to May 4th of 2026. Please.
Oh shit, man! I'm not posting this episode till May 5th.
And go click that link and interact with that video. It would really help me out. I entered into a contest to try to potentially, play D&D on the main stage at a convention in upstate New York with a bunch of other creators. So if you want to please help me out and do me a huge favor, go click that link and interact, repost, favorite, all that good stuff. Comment, whatever. Interact with that video. Try to help me out. I'd super duper appreciate it.
Yeah. So send me a message around 7 tomorrow.
I'm not even awake.
Well, that's when I'm editing the show.
I'm not awake at 7.
Well, wake up.
Well, I posted the link again on my Discord earlier today, so
that doesn't remind me though.
Well, it should, but yeah, do that, please.
No, I'm adding a calendar reminder for you because I will almost certainly forget in the morning, and I know you up that early.
No,
my phone doesn't want to add the whole calendar thing. There we go. Cool. All right. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
See yous.